Howdy, folks, and welcome. I'm the Creepy Kentuckian.
And I'm Uncle Bill.
Oh, we have a treat for you today. Because we've got a special review, Uncle Bill. It's a movie that we did get early, but we couldn't get up enough courage to watch it early. We wanted to take our time with this one. Because this was possibly the biggest horror film of the entire year.
I'm still in the middle of processing everything that I've just seen. And I'm not sure that I can really. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to form coherent sentences to review this because it's not a coherent film for one thing, so
Right. Well, you've got some people, and there's always there's people that defend anything. And then
I'm not even.
It's in the spirit of the original show.
No, it's not.
Goofy, slapstick, stupid comedy, stuff like that. And it's got stupid shit in it. I mean, it's all stupid shit. But at least the original show was funny. This was not funny at all. There was not one thing that I laughed at in this that I thought was slightly funny. It was just the entire movie was like an eye roll.
I kind of knew going into this, like what I had envisioned in my mind after watching the trailers and things like that, was that it would kind of be like a live action version of that Haunted World of El Super Beasto, where it would just be a bunch of shit strung together that wasn't like coherent and just nonsensical kind of jokes and things like that. And that's exactly what it was. Like, I watched probably the first hour of it, and then I was just like, I ain't fucking, life is too short. Like, I just fast forwarded it like to like different parts of the movie, and I'm like, because it's not like magically in the middle of the movie, it's going to be like, oh fuck, it's Citizen Kane.
It's an endurance test, man. This movie's almost 2 hours long. And let's get into the movie. We'll try to talk about what it was about. I mean, the concept of the movie itself is pretty good. You could see, okay, they're rebooting the Munsters. They're going to tell like an origin story about how Lily met Herman and all that.
Right.
That in and of itself, you're like, okay, I can kind of see that. But the way they executed it in every form was so goddamn like terrible. Okay, for one thing, this movie's supposed to be set in the 50s. Is that right? In the 50s or the 60s?
I had no idea. Was it supposed to be set in the 50s?
I didn't get it until the very end of the movie when Herman sees just regular people and they're all dressed like from the 50s and the cars are from the 50s and 60s. So I don't know if, we'll have to go. I don't want to go back and watch this ever. I really don't, but I'm almost positive that somebody will try to make us do that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'll be honest with you though. Like you talk about like the part about it about them showing the backstory of how they met. See, this is to me like the biggest problem with Rob Zombie and what he does. Like, number one, he fucking sucks as a writer. Like that's the biggest thing. Like about Rob Zombie's movies is he is a terrible dialogue and like script writer. And anytime he does a backstory about anything, Halloween or the Devil's Rejects in terms of like Three from Hell or anything like that, anytime he has a backstory like that, like it is always awful. Like it's always just nonsensical and it takes you completely out of the movie, I think.
Well, I mean, there's a lot that can take you out of this movie. Let's try to talk about some of the positives in the movie.
Shit.
Can you think of any?
God. Heck in hell. Oh, God.
All right, I'll give you a positive. I actually think that Daniel Roebuck, he was the only one of the main cast that did a passable job.
I agree with you on that. Like I was frankly goddamn amazed and horrified at how bad what was that guy that played Herman
Herman,
Munster?
he was the worst.
I was like, what are you doing? Like I know you can't play it verbatim like Fred Gwynn, but you could at least like try to do some of the comedic timing and stuff that this guy was just horse shit, man, just
Awful.
awful.
Yeah.
And then to nobody's surprise whatsoever, you've got fucking Sherry Moon Zombie. Just why does she act? Why
She
does
doesn't,
anybody
except
let
for
her
Rob
act?
Zombie's shit.
Like, what is the point
It's
of letting her
Rob's
in a movie?
wife. Yeah. Sherry.
It's like a really bad karaoke ish kind of version of what if you watch five episodes of the Munsters and tried to emulate what Lily Munster was like, that would be what that was.
So the movie is almost 2 hours. Movie Junkie John saying 80 to 90 minutes. No, it was
It's like an
closer
hour
to
and 45 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah,
closer to 2 hours. So the whole plot of the movie, if I mean, it's a very loose plot. Lily is looking for love in all the wrong places. She's dating like Count Orlok, Nosferatu.
which I actually thought that guy and that particular character up to a point was actually pretty good. I don't know if that's the same guy that's doing. Like they reuse a lot of the same actors in this movie, so I think that might be what's the dude's name that was in like 31. He played the main guy in 31, and he's the
Oh,
doctor.
Richard Brake.
Yes, is that? I think that's him.
It may have been. Yeah, I couldn't tell. That makeup was really good,
Yeah,
and some of the atmosphere in the movie. I mean, the visuals looked really good. Some of it did. Now, somebody posted this on there, and this is true too. A lot of this movie, the makeup and stuff with the main cast, it almost comes across as like one of those X-rated porn parody movies. So you're
it
waiting,
does.
yeah, you're waiting on like a big green veiner pop out and oh, Sheriff's
Green.
gonna go to town on it, yeah.
So I will give him this. If I was going to say anything good about this movie, and you know, that's like trying to fucking suck a green Fruit Loop out of a bowl of Fruit Loops or something. Like trying to find a diamond in the rough. It would be that the sets and like a lot of the designs were really good. I will give him that. Like if he could have, sorry, Fat Rob Zombie just popped in here. If he could have somehow or another, if he could have somehow or another like made a decent movie based around those sets, I mean, it would have been probably one of the best like mainstream things he's done. But he fucking did not do that. He did not make that movie.
Well, you've got these grave robber guys, which Richard Brake was the doctor. He's almost like the Frankenstein, if you will. It's putting this superhuman together, and you've got the big motherfucker from Lost, the Hawaiian guy. I think he's Hawaiian. And they create Herman. And Herman's big unveil was on some sort Good Morning Transylvania or some bullshit. There's just so much just random shit that just comes out of nowhere, and he doesn't know how to make any sort of story flow at
No.
all. Like everything is just chopped up. I think here's what I would have done, even using pretty much what you've got in the can. Cut 30 minutes from the movie. Make it crazy short.
Cut an hour and 42 minutes from the movie.
Listen though. They could
Okay.
do this because this seems like a setup for maybe a new TV series or another movie or what. So you could have called instead of just calling it the Munsters, like a lot of people would assume it was just a complete reboot of the Munsters, which it's really not. you could have done like the Munsters when Lily met Herman or something like that, and make that like a separate movie, like a prequel, and cut out a lot of the bullshit in this. But there's so much bullshit in this. I don't know. Like you said, it may be like a 4 minute movie.
I Another thing about this movie that I think that he struggled with too, whether he knew it or not, was who is this movie made for? Is it made for little kids? Because I don't think little kids give a shit. It's definitely not made for adults. Like, is it made for people who are nostalgic for the Munsters TV show? Because if that's the case, they're gonna fucking hate it. Like, who is it made for? Like, who's the audience for this movie, man? Like, I
Yeah.
could not figure that out while I was watching it. It's like even the hardcore people that love Rob Zombie movies are not gonna like this movie. Like, they're just not.
The there's a scene in this too where Lily and Herman dress up as Sonny and Cher and sing "I Got You, Babe"
I think
with,
it was around that point where I was like, I ain't fucking doing this. I'm not.
it's around like a montage of them falling in love and everything else. And like, it's weird too because the only protagonist at all in this, the only conflict at all in this, and it's very brief, is Dan Roebuck, the Count, which this is he's not grandpa at this point, but the same character, wants to sabotage their nuptials, their marriage. And that just goes completely away at the drop of a hat. Like they set it up and then he just kind of gives up. That's it.
Well, the other
Right.
thing, though, that I thought was also equally kind of pointless was the thing about Herman signing away the castle to the gypsy, and like the count's son, who's the Wolfman character or whatever. Like all that shit was just pointless and
Yeah.
ridiculous too. And really, though, this is just
Lester the werewolf was
yeah,
right.
Lester the werewolf. Like really, this was just a string of like really bad puns and like run-ins of different goofy characters and things like that didn't work. Like none of that stuff really worked. Like how like in the beginning with Zombie, like he had was it Dr. Wolfenstein and House of a Thousand Corpses, or he had
Mhm.
those kind of like little side characters and stuff, and some of that stuff actually worked. But it seems to me like everything in this movie was just so kind of forced. None of it works. Like, and there's so much of it too. Like every 5 minutes, you got some new like side character. Like
Yeah, there's
you remember
nothing.
the fucking scene with the newscaster who's played by Sherry Moon Zombie, where she's just like, it's like
Well, you've
what?
got Cassandra Peterson. Elvira is briefly in this too,
Yeah,
which she plays like a real estate. Like she's the lady that hooks them up with 1313 Mockingbird Lane. Which, when they lose the castle, they're forced to move. They want to move to Hollywood, of course.
uh,
And they find this old dilapidated house. The it's very similar to the house in the original show. And then out of nowhere, pretty much, 15 minutes, and they're supposed to be broke, right? How the fuck do they even afford a house? Out of did you watch the very end of it?
no, I probably got through about an hour and 20 some minutes of it, and I just fucking
So
turned it
yeah, at
off.
the very end, the werewolf Lester or whatever just knocks on the door and says, "Hey y'all, I won millions of dollars at in Las Vegas. We're rich." And then they just dance away and all this shit. And that's the end of the movie. I mean, they have the black and white intro that's very similar to the original intro in the show after that. But that's the end. That's it. That's the end. Hey, y'all, look at
Yeah,
my money.
I mean that seems about right for the fact that like I clearly had no idea what he was doing, had no plan for what this movie would be like, and I'm sure he got to the ending. He was just like, fuck it, they're giving me or more like fuck it, yeah, like give me all this money, man, yeah, fuck it, and then just like ended it however.
I mean,
I
people are
struggled
saying
it.
it's goofy. It's like the original show.
It's not though. It's nothing like the original show. It's really not. Like it. Like I didn't religiously watch the Munsters, but I've seen the Munsters enough growing up to know like what the comedy and the humor and stuff was like in the Munsters, and it's not like that. Like Fred Gwynn in one episode of the Munsters was funnier than any of the shit in this movie by far. And not just that, but like the main part of the Munsters that really, really sold it, if you remember, was all the shit that went on in the house. Like they mostly stayed in the house throughout that series. So how long is it in this movie before they even get to that fucking house? It's like
Almost the
what?
very end.
Yeah.
No.
So everything about the original series is kind of just not in this.
This movie too, like the length of it's good to look at. It's nice. Yeah, some of the visuals in it are really cool, and
Yeah.
they look good. I mean, it looks like a music video, like a lot of his stuff. But there's nothing funny in it. There's nothing really that entertaining in it. Some of the creatures look kind of cool. Uncle Gilbert made a little cameo in it, which I thought that looked kind of cool. It looked cheesy.
It did
And
look cheap.
everything.
Yeah. But I just flashed back when I was watching this movie. There's an interview that Rob Zombie did with Joe Rogan, and he says something in it to the effect of like the most important thing when he was doing White Zombie, and that was that everything looked good, like the design of everything, like that. He said you can make it on just that alone. And I'm watching this movie thinking about it because that's all this is like there's no content, there's no like nothing interesting, no plot, no like good performances. It's just he can design graphic, artist kind of stuff really, really well. And I think that that's just what he does. He just fools all these fucking studios into letting him do this shit when he doesn't have any kind of idea like what he's doing.
So that movie, though, I mean, honestly, like I think, and I'm not just saying this. This is one of the very worst movies that he's ever made. I mean, it's definitely 31, and this one's pretty close. 31, this one, El Super Beasto.
Yeah, I mean to me it's like I said, I put this right next to El Super Beasto, like a live action version, same kind of thing. I think at this point, like we could all agree that he's not a very good filmmaker, and they should probably stop giving him money. Like
Honestly, though, like, and I know something came out about this too, where they said this was a $40 million movie. Was that right?
they
No,
said that, but
no
he
fucking
he
way.
he disputed it. He said like
I don't think
the
so either.
yeah, he said like the last four movies he didn't cost $40 million altogether, which I
I
believe that.
Yeah, I believe that too. I mean, this wasn't a very large budget movie, and I don't. After watching it, I don't think it was ever intended to be in a movie theater.
No, I don't either. There's no way, man.
No, because there's just
The look of it just, and I'm not really sure how to explain it. It's that oversaturated, and everything's clearly a set. Like you can't imagine it being in a movie theater. Like you just can't. Like it doesn't have a theatrical look to it whatsoever.
the thing about it though is, man, it's like the story was in it. It could have been interesting if it was put in capable hands, and you wanted to use it to kind of reboot into a new Munsters show. I mean, I would have made it way shorter, like we said. I think it would have helped if the entire thing was in black and white as well, because the Munsters have always, especially Herman, you can't do Herman in color. It just looks too fucking goofy. Like all of the TV shows and everything that they did, they all look bad. The TV
Yeah,
specials, I mean.
that's true, but also like I feel like somebody else could have maybe pulled it off, and pretty much anybody else I think could have pulled it off better. Like if you're gonna make a Munsters movie, you better goddamn ensure that Herman Munster is played really, really well, and it's awful, man.
Yeah, they
Like I
probably
just
did the
think,
worst job. I
yeah, I
think.
just think that's the worst part about the movie, which is the main thing in the Munsters. So I I'm sure there'll be people come out of the woodwork that'll be like, "Oh, this is people just don't understand this movie. They don't understand what he was trying to do." I just want to hear their kind of like rationalizations for how this movie is good, because
Um,
I don't see it.
yeah. So it is interesting though. Ryan mentioned here on the patron chat they chose to give the Munsters a physical release, but did not do so with the Texas Chainsaw. Like, there's got to be some sort of legality
Yeah,
reason
there's
for
something for
that
that. Yeah.
because either one of those. I mean, I think they'll sell a lot of either one of those just based on the name. Um, so I don't know. It has to be some sort of legal reason why that didn't come out in physical
I
form yet.
I saw it today in on Blu-ray at Walmart for $14 already. It's like Jesus Christ, like it's already cheap as hell.
Man, yeah. This one, it's going to be very much like 31. When what now was it? What was the one? Three from
Three
Hell.
from Hell. Yeah, it looks like that. Like that's the same kind of cheap look that the movie has, really.
Yeah, it's a yeah. It's going to be one of those that's going to keep dropping in price. So if somebody out there wants it, sit tight for a month or two. It'll be $6 in no time. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think this movie surprised either one of us. It was
No,
kind of what I was expecting, maybe worse, actually, a little bit worse.
it's about like exactly on the nose what I thought it would be. Yeah,
Yeah.
except and movie junkie John brings this up. There's some scenes in it, like that scene in particular, where like somehow or another he's like a comedian or something like that, and he has a scene where he's playing like rock punk music over top of him telling jokes, and you're just sitting there watching it. Anybody with half a fucking brain that sits there and watches that is just going to be like, "What in the hell is this?" Like it's just the most awkward.
Just random shit pops up every like he's a punk rock singer or something out of nowhere. You know, I there's just a lot of stuff like that. But um, yeah, it's awful. Like, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's fucking garbage. It really is. Like, it's definitely one of the worst movies that Rob Zombie's ever made.
You don't get anything from watching this movie. It's not funny. It's not you know nostalgic. I don't think it is. It's because nobody in it is really like good in their role, except maybe like you said, Daniel Roebuck. But even he's not like that great. He's just like passable because all the rest of them are so goddamn horrible that
Yeah.
I. So I don't understand, man. Like I just want to hear some good reviews of this movie. I looked up online, by the way, reviews, and like every single one of them was negative. So at this point, I just want somebody, that listens to the show who likes this movie to kind of explain to me why they do, just so I can get some idea.
But it's in the spirit of the original show. The original show was goofy.
It no,
The Munsters, boys. So the end of the movie, it kind of leads you to believe that they're wanting to do. I'm thinking it's a TV
no,
show.
they'll never do this again. I guarantee
Probably
it.
not. But I mean, stranger things have fucking happened, man.
I,
They've got some really, really, really shitty ass shows on Netflix. I mean, I would be surprised for sure because this was god awful. I mean, you know, I don't know. That's being too kind to it. Really, it's worse than awful. So we'll see. I mean, they did set it up to be. It's almost like a pilot for a TV show. I don't think so,
I don't
but
know.
yeah, we'll see. We will see.
If you recast the whole thing and got somebody else to write it, maybe that would be about it.
But yeah, that is it for the review. The Munsters. If you're going to watch it, go watch it on Netflix. Do not fucking pay. I can't. I don't know if I would buy it if it was $1 on Blu-ray. I don't think I would. I don't have any
I
room.
never ever want to see this
Yeah.
again. I
No
never
room for
want. I never want to have anything to do with this movie again.
So that is the review. The Munsters 2022. Rob Zombie still sucks dick. So we will catch you guys next time over at DEADPIT.com.
Don't fucking watch this movie. Don't even bother.
Don't do it.
No.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do or
I
not.
want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
For this video officially, it's Oak Curlyjaws has a message for you. Go on over to shop.deadpit.com and go look at their Team Public store right now. You got some new shirts like the Oak Curlyjaws official t-shirt, which is brutal and badass. You got the Yummy Gummy shirt with the captain himself on the shirt. You got Uncle Bill's face on a fucking shirt. You got the Final Girl shirt. You got all these shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Get them before they're all out, especially the new one, Bedtime 1039. It doesn't get better than that, so go on out. Check out these shirts at shop.deadpit.com. Go look at their Team Public store. You're going to have a good old time. Get them all!
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.